Welcome to the Best by the Worst. The best movies of all time, reviewed by the worst possible critics. If you don't believe us, keep listening to find out. Give me that pen now. Give me the pen.
No. This is the new podcast.
Give me.
Clicky McClickface.
Give me the pen. Here. You got an analog pen. It's a pencil.
Yeah, I guess it's all right.
Welcome back to the Barrett podcast.
Yeah?
Still
Drinking a VPO?
Yeah. Look at this beer that we had from... We've saved this beer from the last time we recorded. 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Still good. It's just a little cold. Still good. It's still good.
It's not cold enough. That fridge has had it.
Yeah, no, your fridge really has had it.
That's going to be expensive.
Good thing you're rich.
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, says the guy. He was showing me just before we started this podcast his brand new PlayStation 5 VR kit. VR kit. You want to do a Google around how much they cost? Oh, but he's not rich. Not rich. Me, I'm over here plebbing it with my little PS5 controller like a schmuck. And he's got a VR kit.
Right. You got that out of your system?
Yeah, feel better now. I suppose I can't really talk as long as if I'm saying PS5 in any sentence, I'm probably not.
Do you know why you're so broke?
Why?
Because you have to keep fixing a car that people keep driving into.
Oh, that's too soon. My car is genuinely cursed. It has been hit or scratched or just ravished by people so much in its short little life. It genuinely is cursed. And for once, like, I've not done anything. Like, none of these have been my fault. None of them. None of them have been my fault. But it just keeps happening to me. And you know me, like, I'm the kind of guy. I park like 2 kilometers away because I'm so paranoid about people fucking hitting me. And I've been hit like 6 times since I've had that car for 2 years. And it's always been not enough to claim it on insurance because of the excess. So everything is just coming out of my pocket, or I've used so much touch-up paint, it fucking blows my mind. I'm at a point where I have to just almost respray the whole front bumper. People fucking hitting it.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a sore point.
Never again. You only Kia once.
All right.
It's funny. It's genuinely killed in action.
All right. 1949.
Oh, we're almost out of the 40s, Barrett.
We're almost into colour.
It's been a slog. Yeah. We're almost there. In another 20 years, movie's going to be fire.
20 episodes. At the rate we record, that's going to be like 7 months away.
Oh, okay.
So I take the clicky pen away from you and you drop it on the floor to still find a way of making noise.
I like making sounds. I'm a loud person.
All right. All the King's Men, 1949.
Yep.
Movie had a budget of $2 million or $26 million today.
Yep.
Everyone is dead.
Huh.
Yeah. The plot is a good, honest man runs for governor and becomes corrupt.
Fair. When do you think we'll stop having to clarify that people are all dead or not? Because there'll just come a point where most people will be alive, right? When do you think that point will be?
But I don't know what I'm going to do then. Am I going to say 3 dead, 3 alive? Because it's quite easy to flick through like Wikipedia and go actors dead, because I just look for their...
Maybe you just pick like the main characters and say whether they're alive or dead. Because I feel like once we get to about 1980, the question of is someone still alive is going to be well and truly...
I could just take that section out.
Maybe. We'll leave it up to our viewers. Vote in on our hotline that we get to create. Leave a comment. Leave a comment if you want Barrett to remove or shift, pivot.
Yeah, where should they leave the comment?
Sorry, were you waiting for me to say something?
Our Instagram, Alex. Our Instagram. No one interacts with it. They could send us a DM.
They can.
They could leave a comment
I've been
on
getting
one of our
DMs.
From whom?
Fans.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Man, it is hot in here in front of these lights with the aircon off.
Yeah, this is the only time in 1,000 years your aircon's actually off.
Yeah.
Anyway, facts.
Facts, yeah, 1949.
Again, I only just cherry-picked a couple because, again, there's still this weird World War II theme still. So, anyway. a bit of career in there and some lead up to the Cold War. And anyway, so 1984 gets published, the book by George Orwell.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
19 what?
the book 1984.
Don't know what that is.
What?
The book 1984.
The George Orwell novel 1984.
No idea.
I can't tell if you're taking the piss.
I'm not taking the piss. I don't know what that is.
Barrett. Like, did you go to school? I know you're like a little farm boy, but did they make you go to school? Did
Yes.
So you went to school,
Yep.
and they never made you read 1984,
No.
and then you've gone your entire adult life not understanding a single reference to that novel that gets made everywhere. Do you know who George Orwell is?
No. You have a look of disgust on your face.
We're going to have to start another podcast.
We're not reviewing novels. I hate reading.
Well, so do
I've
I.
read-
But even I've read that book.
I can say I have read 5 books in my
There
life.
is the movie version.
Oh,
We
well,
might have to watch it.
yeah, okay. I'll order it off Amazon.
Boy. Okay, we'll just move on from that. I'll let the listeners decide your
But
fate.
what happens if the listeners don't know what it is as well?
Then clearly we're targeting the wrong audience.
Okay, if you don't know what that book is and you listen to this podcast, leave a comment on the Instagram. I want to know that I'm not alone.
Cool. And if he's very much alone, please make sure you ridicule him senseless. And I brought you brownies.
It's really hurtful.
Yeah. Really good brownies then with that.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Soviet Union successfully performs its first nuclear weapons test. So
Right.
basically they blow up the first bomb, nuclear bomb.
Right.
Yeah. So you think about it, a good few years after the Yanks did it.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this one too. So, you know the Hollywood sign in California?
Yes.
So, back in the day, it used to say Hollywoodland.
What? Oh, I thought it said world.
No, Hollywoodland. And in this year, it got taken down and replaced with Hollywood.
Oh, I thought it got damaged in a storm or something.
I think it was also a bit damaged. But
Yeah.
it used to say Hollywoodland.
Land.
Hollywoodland. Woodland? Yeah, probably land. Yeah. Yeah. But now it's just Hollywood.
Right.
Okay. Australia fact. Aboriginals are now allowed to vote on federal elections. They were able to vote in state elections, but not federal until this year.
Right.
There you go.
Good.
In most states, maybe slightly different in 1 or 2 states, but
Probably Tasmania, they'd be behind the game.
you would think so. I actually did notice, that Tasmania were on the ball with this one.
Really?
Yeah. I could be a liar, but I think I recall seeing them.
Perfect.
If I'm wrong, tell me in the Instagram comments. So, yeah.
Right. We ready to do this?
I think we are.
We haven't done.
We watched the full movie of this
Yeah,
time.
we watched the full episode. I think the last 2 episodes have been short because was it the last episode that we watched the movie in 1.5 speed because it was so bad?
Oh, you mean the one before the last one? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And then we didn't. We watched 20 minutes of the next one.
Yep.
We committed. We gave up an hour and 47 minutes of our lives.
But it also
for this.
helped this movie wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was a decent movie.
Yeah. All right. I'll start rattling off the plot.
Do it.
You can throw some things in there. I will ask you to reserve one comment that you made when we were watching the movie. I'm going to prompt you when to say it.
Please do, because I've forgotten it already.
It was about the movie not entirely making sense and chunks getting left out.
Yeah.
All right. I've got an asterisk in here. Asterisk
Yeah.
in here of when I want you to talk about that because I have fact to drop in about it.
Cool.
All right. The movie opens and we're in a publishing office.
Yep.
The boss is talking to a guy named Jack and he wants him to go do a story on a guy named Willie Stark.
Old Willie Stark.
Yeah. We then cut to a scene and Willie is speaking in public about his views on just general things like...
No, that's why I wanted you to pause in that little newspaper snippet.
Oh,
So
sorry.
his original complaint, I don't know what he was doing before he was speaking in the street and getting all political. Maybe he was a teacher. Who the hell knows? But anyway, he was originally griping about the contracts that were given out for like the school contract, basically the repairs and the construction and the work and the maintenance that was going on the schools in the area.
Right.
There was some like massive contract, right? And it was clearly going to some, which we'll get to in a second, but he felt it was going to some dodgy person because the government was all corrupt and there was a way of them, taking in some money by, getting some dodgy contract to do some of the work. It was one of those sorts of deals.
Yep.
So it was being very vocal about that. That's how it started.
Yeah. The little bits that I miss.
Yeah. It was just, no, because again, it just wasn't clear. So I know we're going to touch on it later.
Yeah.
But it's not very good at explaining some really key points. And that newspaper little clipping that just normally flies by in a monologue.
Yeah.
As we paused on, I was actually able to read it to understand a little bit of what's going on. So, yeah, it was really just around corruption, but it was specifically on the schooling contract.
Yeah. One small point that will probably add to the confusion a little bit. This movie was based on a book.
Yeah.
And when it was turned into a screenplay, the perspective was changed from Jack to... So it followed Jack's life in the book.
Yeah.
And it follows Willie's life in the movie. So Jack goes from the main character to the support role.
Well, I don't know. He was still the main character.
Still the main, yeah, but I guess it's the perspective was changed.
Jack, but it also follows.
Yeah. So it was all from Jack's perspective in the book.
Yeah, okay. I would still say he's the main character and it's from his perspective, but you're right. He's kind of like, it's co-lead with, what's his name? Willie.
Willie, yeah.
Yeah.
He's told to move on for disturbing the peace when he's doing these talks by a local sheriff. Tiny little fact to that sheriff was actually a real sheriff from the area they were filming in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool fact.
Yeah. Found that on the internet.
Bad fact. So that'll be the last one for 2024. Only time will tell.
Anyways.
At what point do we do like a little clip show of the year that's been? Do we do that on like a yearly basis for our podcast?
Clip show.
Kind of like the old sitcoms when they had run out of material and they'll just do like a show kind of with 15-second segments of all their previous episodes, the best moments, Can you chop one of those up together?
I can chop one up that's everything I've bleeped out of you saying over the 2024.
Ooh. That's for the uncut release. When I get cancelled in like 10 years.
Well, Hamish and Andy on their Remembering Project say that you can't be cancelled for something that was said 10 years ago. They're adamant.
Yep. I don't think that's true. Just point that out. There's a lot of cases where that's very much not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll leave that with you. 2024, the year that's been.
I love how you've just given me more work.
I can end with me and you with a little Santa hat on in front of the Christmas tree. Blessed tidings. All our listeners.
It's not happening.
Like you just don't want to pull your weight.
All right, back to the plot. Jack, he's been sent to write a story about this guy named Willie, meets up with Willie and asks him if he can do an interview. They go back to Willie's house. We meet his wife, who has lost her job. I think, now this, you might correct me on this, she's lost her job because of the stuff that Willie's been speaking about, because she used to be a teacher at the school.
Which ties into the contract.
Yeah. We also meet his son, Tom. He's been roughed up by the local riffraff. I don't know who that got beaten up. And then right as all this is happening, brick through the window.
Solid brick.
Yeah. But we find out in this interview that Willie is an honest man and he's running for treasurer of the state of Louisiana. Barrett fact.
Yeah, it's Louisiana now. The only thing I'm sure of, it was somewhere supposed to be like more in the south. It was very much like geared towards like working people.
Yeah.
But exactly which state? Very good question. We'll make it up.
It was a very white cast, which would suggest one of the southern states of America.
Kensington.
Kensington.
Yeah.
Springfield.
Nah, Kensington.
All right.
So yes, he's running for treasurer of Kensington.
Yes.
He decides to run to try and fix the corruption and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Jack writes a series of articles and he paints Willie in a really good light. All right. Nothing but good things to say about this man. Jack then goes on a holiday.
I would just like to point out before we get to that, two things. Alex facts.
Second beer.
Almost. So what I did point out early on is when they were like dealing with, him kind of getting arrested and then getting freed and all the rest of it, there was some like local government and some riffraff, and it just definitely seemed to be some dodgy kind of political figures in the mix. And one of those political figures teased some guy that was stuttering that was working in the bar.
Oh, no.
It's back. We went probably maybe 10 movies in 10 years worth of not making fun of someone stuttering after my last little uncut snip that you removed.
Yes.
So I won't make the same mistake again. But they're back to teasing people that are stuttering. I thought it was gone. It's back.
Yeah.
But can confirm, no weird kissing with mums. But that could be on its way back too.
Yeah, there was no mum in this.
Yeah, it was.
Or Tom's mum, yeah.
Yeah. But no weirdness. Yeah, good, right?
Yeah.
And so this when it started to cut to Jack, what's his name? Jack going on a holiday and a few other things, I started noticing that the transitions in this movie, terrible. Like they would just cut away from a scene almost like instantaneously. It would be like, oh, Barrett, make sure you tell your wife this. And then you think like it'll be like a slow fade away and it might go to Jack going back home to then talk to his wife, which then connects to that previous scene. But it'll be like, oh, Barrett, make sure you tell your wife about this. And it'll just instantly cut to Jack going, oh, I've got to tell you about this. And just start saying it.
Yeah.
It was just really weird. It did that a few times.
You are foreshadowing for my comment that I'm going to stop you later on.
Okay.
You are doing a fantastic job of setting up my fact.
Okay.
All right.
It was jarring, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So Jack goes on a holiday and he meets a girl called Annie. All right.
Just Anne.
Oh, well, her name in the credits is Annie. But yeah,
call her Anne.
they call it Anne throughout the movie. He returns from his holiday.
Yeah.
And Willie has lost the election in a landslide. Absolutely got slaughtered.
He got pumped. But never expected to win, but he got pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you had more to say. I thought I had time to sneak a little drinky in there.
No, that was okay. But yeah, you're right. He lost. But he then decides, and they kind of made a comment about it earlier, but he's doubled down on it. He decides to become a lawyer.
Yeah. So he's been studying night school up until this point.
So there's a bit of a time skip around here.
But it's a small montage.
Yeah.
The world's smallest montage.
Yes.
Nothing like Cavalcade.
Definitely. But so the movie time skips a couple times. This is the first time. And there is like a definite little time skip. It's because once he loses that election, Jack goes on to just obviously being a journalist covering other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about Willie.
Yeah.
Right? And then a bit of time passes and he becomes a lawyer.
Yeah.
Again, like he's not, he's making some local headways and, newspapers are trying to become a bit of a lawyer and he's just focusing on that. He's not really doing the politics anymore. And Jack's no longer interested in him, or at least that journalist company paper isn't interested in him at a bigger level. I think it might have been national. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then something happens that changes people's interest in Will.
Yeah. I just want to touch on the montage for that is about 7 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a quick shot of him studying, a quick shot of him hanging his law degree on the wall, and a quick shot of him in his new shop front with attorney at law.
Yeah.
Of law.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What Alex was foreshadowing just before was the fire alarm goes off in a school classroom, right? The entire school starts to evacuate.
Going down those long stairs at the side of buildings in America.
Yeah.
We don't have that for anyone that's an international listener. Not a thing in Australia.
Yeah, external stairwells.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire escapes.
Yeah.
And all the kids are dum 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 dum, jumping, running down the stairs. And there's a close-up of some brickwork and some A-bolt in the brickwork. This is some of the shoddy school workmanship that Alex was foreshadowing before. And
comes crumbling down.
yeah.
12 kids are either killed or maimed.
Yeah.
We have a close friend of ours who's a bricklayer,
Yes.
and he confirms none of his brickwork would ever do that. He has a 100-year warranty on his bricks.
Yeah. If you can hear anything in the background, that's him walking in and out of the house.
Exactly. He sounds like he's making a lot of banging and noising. It's because he's a bricklayer. So he's not very delicate or subtle.
I don't think he's laid a brick in 10 years.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Willie was told he was right at the funeral for these children.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely garners a lot of support because now people are taking him seriously as a lawyer and taking what he was saying prior to that in his campaign seriously. So he's now gaining a lot of steam. which means now that the newspaper, again, is interested in Willie and sends Jack back down again to follow up and follow on with what Willie is doing.
Yeah.
Because he's gaining a lot of steam.
Yeah, what's he doing? Do you remember what he was doing at that point?
Well, he was still being a lawyer.
And what was he doing with his lawyer skills? He was suing
Who was he suing?
the government
That's right. He was suing the government, for what happened.
for what happened.
And he was very much not interested in politics anymore. He was very much a lawyer. I'm going to make some money, do that,
Yeah.
suing the government.
Yeah.
That was his current stance when Jack talks to him next.
Yeah. But some people walk into his house and he is the new favourite for governor.
So there was a scene that explained that prior. So what they were doing was their person that they wanted to win the election, I think he was getting re-elected, he was losing steam. It wasn't looking good. They were pretty confident he was going to lose. So their campaign group came up with a strategy of bringing in Willie Stark into the mix for election, and they were going to support him because they knew that by doing so, it would siphon votes away from the other political opponent that they were up against who was going to beat him. So it was creating a 3-horse race that was going to siphon some votes off that other guy, probably because they might have had some aligned views or something like that,
Yeah.
and help this guy out. So it was just a big fuckboy strategy.
And they were sort of setting Willie up at the same time.
Big time to lose again, but more importantly, get their guy re-elected.
Yeah.
But Willie buys straight into it when they tell him he's going to be governor. They're pissing in his pocket pretty hard.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so he jumps on the bandwagon. He's on the political campaign again.
Yeah. But he's set up as the fall guy.
He is.
And a few people are talking in the background about that, including a girl, which I don't know the name of.
Sandy.
Ah,
Sadie.
Sadie.
I think it's Sadie. Sadie or Sandy?
Sadie from Louisiana.
Sadie. No, from Kensington.
Kensington.
It's a mixture of Washington and Kansas.
Anyways, so he's set up at the fall guy. There's a fair.
Kansiana.
Kansiana. No.
Do you prefer Kansiana?
All right, Kansiana.
Okay, Kansiana and the Louisiana mix. There you go.
Kansiana. All right. There's a fair set up. All right, big fancy fair. And I just could not stop reading in the middle of the fair sign. I can't remember what the sign exactly said, but between the name of the fair and Willie Stark, there was the division symbol. I don't know why that was on the fair banner, but that's all I could look at.
Yeah.
Uh,
But hang on, something happened before the fair, Barrett.
Oh.
In the hotel room?
Go, yeah. I don't have that written down. Maybe I was lost a little bit of focus. Too busy focused on the division symbol.
So what had happened is basically he'd been going around place to place talking about some really boring numbers and just clearly not a good political strategy, which is, what they wanted. And Sadie was lapping it up, right? And then that's when Jack started to catch on. He's not doing well, and this seems intentional.
Yeah.
Bails up Sadie. She spills the beans he's our sap for this reason. But Jack agrees not to say anything. And then basically they're in this hotel room. Willie kind of realizes he's not going to win. He's doing really badly. And anyway, all the beans get spilled by everyone. And they explain to him, hey, you're a big sap. And Sadie just shreds him, saying, you let us be our sap. You didn't even question it, because he just wanted to win, right?
Yeah.
And then he'd never really drunk before because Lucy, Willie's wife, didn't really allow it and it wasn't good. But anyway, he gets hammered for the first time.
Yeah, I've got noted here. He is on one.
He's on one.
At the fair.
So then he's really hungover at the fair when he's supposed to do another speech.
Yeah.
And he's all crystal clear now that he's a sap. And then he gets up there, and instead of doing his routine speech that's going to get him no support,
He throws his speech on the
he
stage.
does, and he goes rogue.
Yeah. I've got here 12 out of 10 speech.
Yeah, smashed it. He appealed to the everyday man. Really, he said the word hick and called them all hicks, I think 340 times.
Yep.
But basically said that, he was talking about himself initially, I am a hick, I was a farmer, nobody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm here to support other hicks, the local working community, which was the audience there.
Maybe-
And they lap it up.
Maybe that's where the division symbol comes from. They just didn't know what it meant.
Maybe.
Hicks.
So, yeah, hicks. Said the word hicks a lot. Yeah. So he now gets another little montage of him starting to kill. He's now
Oh, yeah.
starting to actually have a genuine campaign.
He is on point, and he is campaigning hard, and he is speaking well. The next scene is Jack back at his job as a writer for some sort of publication company. Thank you, boy.
Kanziana.
Yeah, Kanziana, mushmouth. And he's told to stop writing about it.
Yeah.
So like it's like clear that like the newspaper or magazine or whatever he writes for has been
because
paid off.
it went back to that group for a quick second during this very quick montage.
Yeah.
They were trying to stitch him up, saying, he's gone rogue. He's now getting a lot of support. We need to kill him.
Yeah.
And so there was this collective little mini montage of them, tearing up his banners and wiping away signs and trying to damage his election campaign, right?
Yeah.
And including stop writing about him. They reached out, obviously had some connections with the newspaper. Stop, giving him focus, basically. And it worked because he didn't win the election.
Yeah.
So basically it ends that part before the next time skip with him saying to Jack, like, hey, I haven't won, but it's okay. I know how to play the game now. I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
And he's like very calm about it. And Jack's like, okay. But when Jack finds out that, he's not allowed to write about him anymore and, some of the fuckery that's going on there, he decides to leave the newspaper.
Yeah, quits his job.
So now there's a 4-year time skip where Willie hasn't won the election, but he's now in the lead up to that, into that 4-year cycle, going to go run again.
Yeah.
This time I'll work for governor again. And Jack's been running around basically trying to find work, doing odd jobs, this and that. His life's kind of gone to shit a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my handwriting is bad in this bit. But one of my facts I wanted to weave in here.
Yeah.
This entire movie / novel is based on a true person.
Oh.
I think their name was Henry Long. But I can't read
Donald Trump.
I can't read my writing of what it was. So Barrett fact on that one. But yeah, there was a rule that he was not allowed to be mentioned on set when they were filming this movie.
Oh, why?
Don't know.
There you go.
They just had that as a rule.
So, time skip, 4 years on.
4 years, yeah.
Jack really needs a break. He's not working really.
He's been just drifting around.
But anyway, like word's now getting out about Willie's next governor charge. And he's gaining a lot of steam.
Yes.
And his campaign is getting huge. And they're very clear early on that he's spending a truckload of money to get this huge, which, we all know you need in a political campaign, right? Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Then it's changed that you got to now spend, hundreds of millions of dollars instead of thousands of dollars from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So they're very clear that he's getting all these campaign funds from, private companies, oil companies, this and that.
Yeah, he's up to no good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not up to no good. Everyone does that. Like, to be clear, there isn't a political campaign out there, especially if you look at the United States, that isn't getting money that way, right?
Yeah.
And they can make donations, right? Which is what they were doing for old mate in...
Yeah, and he's saying there's no strings attached to them.
No strings attached. But we all know that there's always strings attached.
Yeah.
And it's, for political favors and influence if that person gets elected, right?
Yes.
That's ultimately what it always has been. So no different. But they're just clear about that he's absorbing all that money in, which is supposed to be contrary to his every, working day man point of view.
Yeah.
But it's very quick to say like, hey, this is what it takes to win. And, he's right.
Yeah.
And you need that money to win. And it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, all of that's going on. He's making some deals. He gets called out on the deals and says there are no strings attached. But essentially, he goes to the election. We're happy to talk about this bit now. And wins in a landslide.
So he wins. He is now the governor.
Yeah.
And when he wins the role, he is also run into Jack again. And Jack's been talking to him since he became governor again, and clearly says, "How would you like to work for me?" Because it's important to note that Sadie, who was like the one stitching him up, working for the other political candidate who did win, had been leading his campaign that won.
Yes,
right, for Willie. So they're now, I'm just going to say it. They were together at that point, but the movie doesn't fucking tell you. So they were hooking up, even though he was still married to Lucy.
Yeah.
So Sadie has left that political person, is now working with Willie. They've won. He's now governor, and they're still banging.
Yeah.
And also they brought Jack in. He's given Jack a job to be his guy, kind of like his right-hand man.
Yeah. Yeah. In his winning speech for the election, he's talking about building hospitals, schools. He's going to give tax cuts to the farmers. If you're on a struggling property,
build bridges and schools and
if you're on a struggling property, you won't have to pay tax. Like, we won't take your land off you. We'll give you time to...
it was like, make Kanziana great again.
Yeah, and he is passing laws left, right, and centre.
But yeah, something that's important. We didn't work out for probably another half an hour towards the end of the movie that he was even hooking up with Sadie at all.
Yeah. More.
Again, they don't explain some key things well at all.
Yeah.
And it was only when we realised, so as now he's become governor and he starts being governor for ages and starts doing all these things, we see him becoming just more and more corrupt and being more and more dodgy. And he also becomes more and more of a slag, and he's clearly hooking up with a bunch of random women. That part was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Which Sadie picked up on at some point. That's when we worked out, like, why does Sadie care so much? Oh, it's because they're together. Even though he's doing exactly to Sadie what he did to Sadie to Lucy.
Yeah. I will drop a weird fact in at this point. The entire cast that were involved in filming this movie weren't allowed to have the script. They only drip fed their lines, which apparently, according to the director, kept them on their toes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cool. Probably important to know here too, like, he's become a bit estranged to not only Lucy, obviously, because he was cheating on her, but his son, Tom, who doesn't really pop in for a little while. Just they make some comments that has become like he's kind of in uni and he's become a really good footballer. That part they've mentioned. But they're estranged because of what he did to he's becoming more and more dodgy and corrupt, and he's been very distant from the family and what he did to his mum.
Yeah. Right. So, Willie's starting to become a real bad boy. All right. There's a couple of scenes that the Governor General quits. He demands the resignation from someone else, but doesn't put the date on the
the judge, right?
The judge, so demands a resignation from him, but doesn't date it, so he can make him resign at his will.
Yeah. There's a couple of people we haven't really talked about, which is kind of important, which is like people that are connected to, Jack and Jack's family. There was this judge and this doctor.
Yep.
And they're quite important, which we haven't really talked about. But basically, there's a judge that's kind of like in the close to his retirement.
Yeah,
that's kind of in the mix. He seems to be a very important, influential judge that had connections with Jack initially. Might be related to Anne, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, and then also Anne's brother is this leading doctor as well, who becomes an important figure later too.
Yes.
Yep. And his name was Adam. So there was this judge, can't remember his name, and then Adam, who was the brother of Anne.
He's
big time.
He's just referred to as the judge the whole time. I think I even think I might be wrong in this. Is he not the judge that sits on the council for the government?
Something like that. Yeah, he's some key.
Like if you were talking Australian politics, he'd be like the speaker.
Something like that. Yeah. I think you're right. So very influential person, and as Willie gets more and more corrupt, he's applying more and more political pressure and influence on the likes of the judge and everyone else and his political opponents.
Yeah.
And also, he's keeping Jack is the keeper of this little black book that they keep referring to, right? Which is literally this little black book that's filled with all the leverage they have on what people to get them to bend their will. Basically.
Yes, yeah. It's all the blackmail or blackmailable material.
Yeah. And as Stark puts it, like in his mind, as this becomes more and more corrupt, that you can only have good out of evil. He keeps saying that, right? I'm going to do all these evil things because good things can come of it. If I blackmail these people and I get a hospital built, then it was worth it and it's fine. Yeah. So that's his mantra, right? Like that's why he's becoming more and more the way that he is, because he keeps saying good out of evil, good out of evil.
Yeah. There's something called the Pillsbury Inquest, not explained. Don't know what it is.
It's another thing that's not explained, but they're trying to impeach.
Yeah, they're trying to impeach.
They're trying to impeach him, right? Yeah.
Willie tells Jack to get dirt on the judge. All right, and Jack comes back saying he couldn't find anything. His son,
but he did.
Well, we don't know that.
We did. Yeah, so they were very clear on that. So he goes into this area where there's all these old records. We don't know what it is, but he definitely finds the silver bullet. But lies to Willie and says he didn't find anything.
Wow. Was that on my phone?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why he was in the hotel and he snuck it under his pillow when Sadie came in and Sadie started talking about like all these other girls and stuff like that. That's when we realised then that Sadie and Willie were banging.
Was I even in the room for this? I don't remember any of that.
I don't know what you were watching, but that definitely was clear.
Oh, man.
So
daydreaming.
He's lied about that, bought the judge some time, right?
Yeah, right. His son, so Willie's son, Tom, is not doing so well. I guess he's under a lot of pressure to perform because of his dad.
Also hates his dad.
Who his dad is. Hates his dad, yeah. And his dad's like adamant that he's going to play continue playing football, and he's needs to do better because he's turning up drunk to practice and all of this stuff. We cut to a scene. Tom's driving a car.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like 1939.
40 kilometers an hour, full pelt.
Yeah, full pelt.
Smashing the
pissed
booze.
as a newt.
With a girl
And
next door.
he's hanging it out around the corners, right? As much as
No
he can.
seat belts.
Yeah. Anyways. So, he's speeding. The police start chasing him. Surprise, surprise, he crashes the car. Almost kills the girl. And puts himself in hospital as well.
Yep.
Right? Somehow, during all of that happening, they fabricate a police report.
Yeah. So Willie steps in and makes sure the police don't capture the fact that he'd been drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the girl's dad, while she's still in hospital, comes to him to say, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So Willie's plan in all this is to basically bribe him to make the problem go away because everyone's pretty clear on the fact that he was drinking and wanted it to go away. And the son, Tom, he's good, right? Like, he comes down and is like, no, I was drinking. I want to do the right thing. Dad's like, you're crazy, go away. Tries to bribe the dad.
Yeah.
Dad's one of the few people, he's got a bit of backbone and says, if you're a horrible human being, you can't bribe me.
Yeah, the dad owns like a trucking company or something, and he says, wouldn't it be nice to have a state contract to move some stuff around?
Yeah. And so soon after that, though, the girl actually dies.
Yeah, before we go to the girl dying.
Yeah.
This is the moment. Stop banging your pen.
Stop banging your paper. I'm being good.
This is the moment
Yeah.
where you set up and said, pause the movie. This doesn't make any sense. Like, there's so much material chop from this movie that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then I knew where I had to put my fact number 2.
Do it.
All right, you ready? Oh, I've got to roll back the pages to read this out correctly. All right. When the film was finished being recorded, all right, it was almost ready to be released. Guess how long it was?
3 hours.
250 minutes.
Holy crap.
4.1 hours. Right? They were told
The
to
director's
cut.
Yeah.
Cut. They said, find the important part in the middle of each scene and chop 100 foot off each end.
Holy crap.
All right? This stands to be like, why so much of the movie is missing?
They chopped it all out.
They chopped it all out. So all of the questions that you're wondering, all of the little bits that you're like, that doesn't make sense, or that was chopped together really quickly, it's because the movie was...
God, no wonder. And it's crazy too, right? Because, look, 4 hours is insane. It shouldn't be 4 hours.
Yeah.
But this movie came in under 2 hours.
Yeah,
Very
it was
reasonable
an
time.
hour, 47 minutes. So they chopped over 2 hours of film out.
If you just kept in like an extra half an hour, you could have easily have explained the parts that were missing.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be 4, but it needed to be 2.5.
What do you reckon of that fact?
Great fact. But also clearly now makes sense why nothing made sense.
Hmm.
Because without all that, they're kind of just relying on you either having read the book or, being a psychic. It's very incomplete.
It is. It's an incomplete movie.
So anyway,
The girl dies.
girl dies. Son's obviously riddled with guilt. And then that plays out a little later.
Yeah, he's still injured from the car accident.
But he kind of makes a full recovery.
Well, ish. He's still got a head injury. Or something wrong with him. And
He makes a reasonable recovery, but his mental health is declining.
Oh, okay. Interpreted that differently. Anyways.
You didn't see him, literally running around a football pitch perfectly fine.
Yeah, but he didn't want to go out because I don't think
he's
he's
inside
his head.
outside
All
the
right.
head.
All right. Anyways, so we cut to the scenes of the football stadium. The crowd's booing because Willie's son doesn't want to come out and play. All right. His dad pressures him into going out. He's down in the locker room. He's bullying his son.
Slaps him.
Slaps him. All right.
A lot of slapping in this movie, actually. Yeah, there's a scene where obviously he slapped his son. Jack had to break him up a little bit. Scene where, Sadie was kind of losing it because, Willie kept cheating on her. And then Jack kind of like, he's a good man, and slaps Sadie. It's a real weird scene. It kind of ends with her going, right then. Kind of like, is that what you're like? Or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like that bit was probably cut out.
A lot of slapping.
Yeah. Anyways, tries to play football. Mine's not on the task. Gets tackled pretty badly. hurt really badly.
Mangled. Yeah.
Mangled. Back in hospital.
Yeah, this time, not good.
Paralyzed.
They're like, hey, we have to do the surgery. They wanted to fly in some other surgeon because there's already some bad blood between Willie and Adam, who's Anne's brother that we mentioned. And the reason there's some bad blood is that they wanted to, when the judge resigned, there was a lot of bad publicity on Willie leading up to his impeachment.
Yeah.
And wanted to put in the Adam, the doctor, as director of this medical facility that he built.
Yeah.
So that there was another person with the same last name as the judge.
Yep.
So it looked like, I've got you in your pocket. I can now have influence over you and it's in the family. So there's no bad blood. So, something like that. Right? It was a political game. And Adam said, no, fuck off. So when his son got mangled, he tried to get in some other surgeon. That wasn't happening. And so Adam was like, I'm still a doctor. I can do the surgery, but I'm doing it only to save his life because he's going to be paralyzed.
Yeah. And the mum gives the go-ahead.
Yep, which happens. Yeah. Son's alive but paralyzed. And you actually don't see him until like the end of the movie in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to get you a straitjacket so you stop banging the table.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right. Anyways, son aside, we cut to some scenes. And it is just all these buildings that Willie has built. And every single one has Willie Stark on it. Willie Stark Bridge, Willie Stark Hospital, blah, blah, blah.
And it's smart, right? Like if you got that built, have your name on it, it helps you with re-election.
It does, yeah. Did we then see them sitting in like a mini theatre and they're watching a movie advertisement, I would say, about him. And the very last scene of the little movie advertisement, it's all about what Willie Stark has done for the state. Is he a messiah? Or is he a dictator?
Yeah.
It's the last line.
Which Willie didn't like, but again, it was pretty good. The guy was like, that's what we're sticking with.
Yeah.
And Willie was like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
So it was kind of at this point we saw like Willie's gone, mad with power.
Yeah.
He's dead set on beating this impeachment thing.
Yeah. And he's up for re-election at this point as well.
Yep. And is, really pulling all the stops for that because his aim now is to become president.
Yeah.
He's not stopping. It was also around this moment that I picked up in this scene when he's talking to Anne in the car and he clearly just banged her, that these two were having sex.
Yeah.
And that they were like in a full relationship, which is why Sadie was so mad. Again, made no sense because it was not explained at all leading up to this. And my first response then to Barrett was like, hang on. So not only did he leave Lucy for Sadie, now he's cheating on Sadie with Anne, probably amongst other women.
He's still with his wife.
Yeah, but Jack is his right-hand man. And Jack and Anne were like lovebirds.
Yeah.
And so what's completely I can't reconcile with this movie, which is going to impact the rating, is the fact that you've got Jack who is trying to do all these things to basically build this life with Anne and all these lovebirds. That never really came true, and that relationship never kind of got resolved. It was very hit and miss. And then all of a sudden, Anne now is in a relationship with Willie, and Jack's like totally fine with it. Maybe not fine with it, but not addressing it at all, and still working with Willie.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on here?
So he was cheating on his wife, but he was cheating on the girl he was cheating with.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Anne either. But now like, they were like wanting to get married. Same old story, right? Oh, but I can't. It's going to look bad for me. So just keeping it on a bit of a string, right? But like, how is Jack still in the picture when all this is happening? Insane. So that really took me out of the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably it's in the 2 hours that were cut.
The next scene's he's campaigning again, and he's taken like a camera crew and a reporting crew back to the farm that he's originally from. Met up with his wife, met up with his son, who's now in a wheelchair.
In Kansiana.
And basically he's there to be the family man for the publicity photos.
Yes.
Has dinner
Son's
with
in the wheelchair, wife's there. Oh, let's all look good so we can win the election.
Has dinner with his wife, gets a photo taken, he goes, right, I'll be off then. Right. But as he's about to leave, he goes, I got you this fancy radio. Let me show you what it can do. And he's like flicking through some things. And the news report comes on, breaking news. The girl's dad has been found dead. Now, the girl is...
Christmas podcast.
Someone's at the front door, Alex.
Who could that be?
Don't know. Will Brooke get the front door?
Oh, I really hope your wife does. Doesn't she know we've got important business to attend to? Can you cut this out?
I can cut this out.
But only cut it out after the doorbell goes off, and then don't explain the doorbell.
No, I'll just cut it now. All right.
Where were we?
Back to where we were. So the girl's dad's been found dead.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the girl who died in the car accident from Willie's son, Tom,
Yeah.
driving the car.
Yeah.
All right. Willie's party is blamed and impeached.
Yeah.
All right. And,
Well, they're trying to impeach it.
well, they're trying to impeach it, but then Willie's trying to drive back to the city to get back on top of this. And while he's driving back, they have a meeting and impeach him.
What?
Do you remember all this, like the scene where he's in the car and the police are escorting him, and then it keeps cutting back and forth to the court where they're doing the impeachment?
Yeah, and they're speaking over the thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
They're doing the vote.
No. Before that.
Oh, okay, you're charging with impeachment.
Charging him
Okay,
with impeachment.
Okay,
Yeah.
He wasn't getting impeached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Willie wants dirt on the judge. All right.
To influence his impeachment vote, right?
Yeah.
So they go back to the place where the judge is, and Adam's there and Ann's there, and says, hey, like, please support us, basically. Jack's trying to talk to him because they've got a long-standing relationship. Judge isn't budging. In any case, it comes out there that Willie has figured out the dirt without Jack because Jack lied to him. And Jack's like, how did you figure it out? How did you figure it out? Anyway, didn't share that information. Judge is like, holy crap, I'll tell you my answer in the morning, because now he's basically pinched, right? He's blackmailed. And then they out in the hallway, and then he's still asking Willie, like, how did you find out? Anyway, boom, gunshot goes off. Judge has blown his brains out. All over the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's now dead. He's killed himself. They're all, angry and blaming themselves. It's at that point that Jack works out it was Anne. It was Anne who got the information and used it against the judge to help out Willie, because they're all still in love. Well, she's in love. I don't think really cares about it, but did it for Willie.
Yeah.
And Jack figures it out and he's gutted.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scenes where Jack's kind of just shaking Anne, and Anne's just doing this with her head. And there's like 4 scenes of that. It was funny. I don't know if you noticed that.
No.
Any scene that she was in, basically, it's some scene where she's getting shook around.
Ragdoll.
And she's doing the dramatic, like, neck tossing from the 50s. Just back and forth.
All right. The next scenes we see, there's a parade going on. All right. And Jack is packing up to leave because he's had enough.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't want to be involved with this anymore. There's chanting going on outside the court. Willie is inside the court. He's trying to sort out his impeachment. And the crowd is told to stand their ground.
Because they're doing a vote.
They're doing a vote. The crowd's chanting. Everyone in the court's like, how are we supposed to compete with all this noise, all this support? The judge is, just committed suicide. So the impeachment essentially falls over.
Yep. He doesn't get impeached.
Yeah.
Crowd, roar with excitement. Right. Jack's still standing there. Anyway, Willie comes out there. He's doing a bit of a speech around, we've won, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack's there. He grabs Jack to kind of bring him back into the fold.
Yeah.
Jack kind of looks like he's going along with it. And then just as that happens, Adam,
The doctor. Yeah. Who's had a bee in his bonnet the whole time.
just out of nowhere, blasts him, shoots him a few times in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam then dies. He gets shot himself.
Yeah.
But Willie gets shot.
There's a problem in that scene, actually. I don't think it's Adam. It's someone else shoots back at Adam.
Yeah, he's one of...
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. Birdie? Is it Birdie?
Anyways, the guy that shoots back,
Yeah.
10 shots out of a 6-shot revolver.
Yeah, he did shoot a lot. Yeah. So anyway, and he had a few dying words, basically Willie saying, how you want to take over the world or some nonsense, and died.
Yeah. Jack consoles Anne.
Yeah. Definitely kind of makes it look like those two will now still end up together.
Yeah.
Weird, but anyway.
Jack talks to the dying governor. And his last sentence, did you know what it was?
I can't remember. Something about...
Could have been the whole world.
Yeah, taking it.
Willie Stark.
Willie
Why did he do it to me? And then died.
Yeah, just, high on his own supply, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
What do you think, Barrett?
It had the potential to be really good.
It did.
The chopping and editing to bring it from 4 hours down to an hour and 47 minutes really cut some key points of the movie out.
Really hurt it. But it did have... Yeah, I thought it was still good, though.
Yes.
Despite that. But also was quite... had a lot of connections to our modern government. Like you watch that from back in the day, but really think about what happens now.
Yeah.
We just went through like the US election here, and it's the same even for the Australia elections and government stuff.
Yeah.
It's all the same shit, right? It's all the same games, all the same tactics that they use. Nothing really has changed. It's kind of cool to see that connection.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not amazing, but good.
Not amazing. You're 100% right on that.
So with that in mind, Barrett, it's time.
How many Barretts out of Barrett?
How many Barretts out of Barrett? 4 Barretts out of 5. And I'm just going to mark my score. So
I thought I had solid in my head, but I'm reconsidering. 3. It's got to be a 3. If it had another half an hour in it and it actually explained the story fully, it probably would be a solid 4.
yeah,
The editing really cut this movie down.
so I originally thought, okay, about 3 stars. But I also wanted to highlight that the acting, especially the guy that played Willie, really, really good. That part was really good. So I gave it 3.5.
Oof.
Yeah.
Higher than me. That's rare.
It is. Maybe it's because, we've gone through some real shit movies that were actually fucking unwatchable. It's made me a little bit more lenient on this account.
But we got all the way through this movie.
Exactly. So, had there been a couple good movies before this one, would it have been a 3 for sure.
Yeah.
But because it restored my faith in humanity, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Sounds
Last thoughts?
No last thoughts. Sounds like we're done.
Amazing.
All right.
See you next time.
See ya.